I was just out riding horses, so I am covered in dirt. So please don't judge. I was thinking about the power of being consistent and being resilient. And it made me think about something that recently happened when I was going to a one team, one mission in Canada. And I didn't want to tell anybody this story because it's embarrassing, but I think that the story has a place, and I hope that it will help you. So I purchased my plane tickets to go to Canada, Ontario, and it took me 2 flights and about 3 hours of traveling before I realized I was headed to Ontario, California. This was not my brightest moment. I will admit that. I had purchased the tickets quickly. You know, my kids were jumping up and down and needing something, and I was trying to find the best price, and I think I punched in Ontario. And even though I've flown into the Ontario, California airport many, many times, I just got excited about the inexpensive price of the ticket and I purchased it. But the really silly thing was that I flew there before I realized that I wasn't going to Canada. So you can imagine how I felt. Yes, this is a funny story, but imagine having spent a few $100s on a plane ticket and you want to get somewhere at a certain time, and I was so excited to meet my team in Canada, and I felt defeated. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, when I finally realized what I had done, I felt defeated. And I know that we feel like this sometimes in this business when we have a certain plan and we're excited about it and we want to make it happen, and then it just doesn't. For whatever reason, it can be our own fault, it can be our own, wrongdoing. It can be that somebody else didn't follow through with what they said they were going to do. So I sat there for a minute and I thought, so here are my choices. I can sit here and be sad about it and just fly home, or I can try to come up with a plan and I can try to put that plan into action. And so I decided, thank you to my husband who said, you want to get to Canada, make it happen. So he inspired me to go make it happen. I decided that I was going to do whatever it took to get to Canada on time for the one team, one mission. So I started researching flights before my flight even hit the ground. I had the online or the inboard whatever internet, got on my phone, started researching flights. And by the time I touched down in Ontario, California, I had a plan, and it wasn't an easy one. It was not going to be easy. Thank you to my It Works paychecks every month that I was able to purchase some more tickets, for sure. But the rest of it, I had to put into place me. I had to make it happen. So I landed in Ontario, and I had to get a taxi to drive me to another airport, the Fort Wayne airport, I think it was. And I mean, I was going to cut it close. Like, there was no way that this was going to happen unless I seriously put my, feet in motion. So I got off the plane, I ran, I hailed the first taxi I found, and I told the guy, I need to get to this airport in the next 30 minutes. And it's a 45-minute drive, by the way. And this taxi driver, he was so awesome. I mean, he made it happen. And I got there and I got through security, and I just kept telling myself, I can do this, I'm gonna make this happen. And no part of it was easy and no part of it was fun. I was stressed the entire time. But it was my goal to get where I wanted to go. So then I got on a plane from California to Dallas, Texas. And in Dallas, Texas, I also had a very, very short layover. And then I flew to Chicago. And from Chicago, I flew into Canada. And by the time I got to Canada, it was the middle of the night. I had to go and rent a car. It was very, very cold, but I made it all happen. And I can't tell you how happy I was the next morning to wake up and go to our One Team, One Mission event and meet the Canadian team. I'm getting like emotional thinking about it. They're such an amazing group, and I was so thankful that I got that opportunity to do it. Now, what had happened if I would have just said, this is too hard. I'm so mad at myself for doing this. I'm just gonna go home. I would have been disappointed. I would have been disappointed if I had quit. I also knew that if I was going to make something work, I needed to do whatever it took, okay? And that meant traveling for another, 16 hours. I needed to make sure other people knew what my goal was, so that if they were inclined to help me, they would. And if they weren't inclined to help me, they would get out of my way. I made sure, I got lucky with the taxi driver, but everybody else, from stewardesses to, even baggage people, I made sure I told them, like for one plane, I had to put my carry-on luggage underneath. They didn't have enough storage room. And so I told them, please put my suitcase at the front so that it comes out first. I'm begging you. And, I made sure that each and every thing that I did would help me accomplish my ultimate goal, which was to get to Canada. So for those of you who are going through stuff that, you feel like is a setback in your business, are you going to sit down and cry and give up and go home? Or are you going to come up with a new plan? Life gets in the way sometimes. It messes up our best intentions and it messes up our best plans. And you have a choice. You either turn around and run with what you've got, or you sit down and you cry. So I'm telling you right now, I don't always have all the answers. I'm not giving you hard and fast ways to grow your business right now. What I'm giving you is an overall picture of, do you have what it takes? And I know that you do. If you are watching this video, you do. Have you figured out what your goal is? Do you have a plan? And now, are you going to do whatever it takes to make it happen? Doesn't matter if your loyal customer didn't order. Go out and find another person to become a loyal customer. You have the power. It is in your control, and what you do with it determines whether you will be successful or not. So I believe in you guys. You can do this, and don't ever mix up Ontario, California with Ontario, Canada. That is my lesson for today.